Hey, welcome back to the English Hustle podcast. Today, we have a topic that can truly change your life: self-motivation. It's something that drives you to keep going, even when things get tough. Whether you're learning English, working on a project, or setting personal goals, self-motivation is the key to success.
That's right, Alex. It's the ability to push yourself without anyone else telling you what to do. We all need self-motivation, especially when we feel stuck or uninspired.
For me, self-motivation played a big role when I was learning a new language. There were days I felt like giving up, but I reminded myself of the bigger picture, how far I had come and what I wanted to achieve.
I can relate to that. When I started my first job, self-motivation was crucial. There was no one pushing me every day, and I had to find ways to keep myself focused. Over time, I learned that setting small, achievable goals was a great way to stay motivated.
Exactly. And today, we'll dive into what self-motivation really means, why it's so important, and how it can transform not only your language learning journey, but also your everyday life.
Stick with us for this episode. We'll share tips, stories, and even fun facts to help you develop your own self-motivation skills. Whether you're just starting out or already on your journey, there's something here for everyone.
Now, let's talk about some key words related to self-motivation. These are words you'll often hear when discussing how to stay motivated and push yourself forward.
Word 1, determination. First, we have determination. This means having a strong will to keep going, even when things are hard. For example, if you're studying English and you feel tired, determination is what helps you keep learning, even when you want to give up.
Yes, determination is like a strong force inside you that says, "I won't stop until I reach my goal."
Word 2, initiative. Next, we have initiative. This is when you take action on your own without waiting for someone to tell you what to do. For example, if you notice you need to improve your speaking skills, taking the initiative would be starting a conversation with someone or practicing on your own.
It's about not waiting for someone else to motivate you, but motivating yourself to take that first step. Word 3, persistence. Now let's talk about persistence. This means not giving up even when things are difficult. It's about continuing to try, no matter how many times you fail. Imagine you're trying to master English pronunciation. Persistence is when you keep practicing, even if it's tough at first.
Persistence is key to self-motivation because it helps you stay on track, no matter the challenges. Word 4, drive. Finally, we have drive. This is your internal motivation or desire to achieve something. It's what pushes you forward. For example, if you have a goal to become fluent in English, your drive is what makes you practice every day, even when you're tired or busy.
Drive comes from within. It's the passion or reason behind why you want to achieve something.
Now that we've covered these words, think about how you can use them in your own life. Remember, self-motivation is built on determination, initiative, persistence, and drive.
All right, Maria, let's dive into the heart of today's topic: self-motivation. I think we've all had moments when we felt stuck or unmotivated, right?
Definitely. And I think that's where self-motivation comes in. It's that inner push that keeps us going even when we don't feel like it. Speaking of that, I remember a time when I had to rely on my own self-motivation. It was during university when I was working 2 part-time jobs and studying. There were days when I thought, I can't keep up with this. But I knew that I had to push through to finish my degree.
That's such a relatable story. Sometimes, when no one is there to encourage you, it's all about finding that inner strength. I've had a similar experience when I was trying to learn a new language. There were days when I wanted to give up, especially when I wasn't seeing quick progress. But I remembered why I started, to connect with more people and open new opportunities, and that became my motivation to keep going.
Exactly. And that reminds me of some famous examples of people who have used self-motivation to succeed. One great example is J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. She faced a lot of rejection before her book was accepted by a publisher. But despite the challenges, she kept going because she believed in her story.
Yes. And another great example is Michael Jordan. He was cut from his high school basketball team, but instead of giving up, he used that failure as motivation to work harder. He's now one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and he always talks about how self-motivation played a big role in his success.
That's such a powerful story. I think the key lesson from people like J.K. Rowling and Michael Jordan is that self-motivation is about pushing through failures and staying committed to your goals.
Exactly. So let's talk about some practical steps that anyone can take to develop and maintain self-motivation in their everyday life.
Step 1. Set clear goals. First, set clear, achievable goals. It's hard to stay motivated if you don't know what you're working towards. Break your big goals into smaller ones. For example, if you're learning English, maybe your goal for the week could be to learn 10 new words instead of focusing on mastering the entire language.
That's a great point. Small goals make progress feel manageable, and every time you achieve one, it gives you a little boost to keep going.
Step 2. Find your why. Next, find your why. Why do you want to achieve this goal? Is it to improve your career, communicate better, or just for personal growth? Knowing your why gives you a reason to stay motivated when things get tough.
For me, knowing that learning English would help me travel and connect with more people was my why. It helped me stay motivated even when I hit roadblocks. Step 3. Celebrate small wins. Another great way to stay motivated is to celebrate your small wins. It's easy to focus on what you haven't done, but recognizing your progress, no matter how small, can keep you moving forward.
Yes, I love that. It's all about positive reinforcement. If you've practiced English every day for a week, celebrate that. It doesn't have to be something big, but it should be something that makes you feel good about your progress. Step 4. Stay consistent. Consistency is key. Even when you don't feel like it, show up. Do a little bit every day. Over time, it becomes a habit, and that habit will keep you motivated. For example, if you're trying to learn English, set aside 15 minutes every day to practice.
Yes, consistency builds momentum. Once you build a routine, it's easier to keep going, even on the days when motivation feels low. Step 5. Surround yourself with positivity. Finally, surround yourself with positivity. Whether it's listening to motivational podcasts, reading inspiring books, or even talking to people who encourage you, positivity can keep your motivation levels high.
Absolutely. When you're surrounded by positive energy, it's easier to stay focused and motivated. I find that listening to podcasts like this one helps me stay motivated, especially when I'm feeling down.
So, to recap, self-motivation is all about setting clear goals, knowing your why, celebrating small wins, staying consistent, and surrounding yourself with positivity.
Exactly. It's not always easy, but with these steps, anyone can build self-motivation and keep moving towards their goals.
Stay with us because in the next segment, we'll be sharing some fun facts about self-motivation that might surprise you. Welcome back. Now it's time for one of my favorite segments, Fun Facts. Let's talk about some surprising and lesser-known facts about self-motivation. These are things that might change the way you think about how motivation works.
Fun fact 1. The science behind motivation. Here's an interesting one. Did you know that self-motivation is closely tied to a chemical in your brain called dopamine? Dopamine is often called the feel-good chemical, and it plays a huge role in keeping us motivated. When we achieve small goals, our brain releases dopamine, which makes us feel happy and encourages us to keep going.
That's fascinating. So every time we check something off our to-do list, we're actually training our brain to stay motivated.
Exactly. That's why breaking big goals into smaller tasks helps us stay on track. Every little win boosts our motivation.
Fun fact 2. Motivation. Styles differ by culture. Now here's something I didn't know until recently. Different cultures view motivation in unique ways. For example, in Western cultures like the US or the UK, people often focus on individual achievement and personal goals. It's all about a self-made success.
Yes, but in many Eastern cultures like Japan or China, motivation is often more collective. It's not just about personal success, but also about fulfilling a role within the community or family. The idea of making others proud can be a big motivator.
That's really interesting. So in some places, motivation isn't just about me. It's also about the people around you, which can push you to work even harder.
Fun fact 3. The motivation paradox. Here's a fun paradox. The more we focus on motivation, the harder it can sometimes be to stay motivated. Sounds strange, right? It's called the motivation paradox.
Wait, how does that work?
Well, the idea is that when we think too much about why we're not motivated, it can create anxiety and stress, which makes us even less motivated. So sometimes, the best way to get motivated is to just start doing the task, even if you don't feel like it at first.
That makes sense. So it's almost like we need to take action first, and then the motivation will follow. Fun fact 4. Morning motivation. Peaks. Here's something practical. Research shows that we're most motivated in the morning. This is when our energy and focus are at their highest. So if you have important tasks or goals to tackle, doing them earlier in the day can help you stay more motivated.
That's a good tip. It's also why many successful people like Tim Cook of Apple or Michelle Obama start their day really early. They use their peak energy to get things done.
Fun fact 5. The impact of rewards on motivation. Did you know that giving yourself rewards for completing tasks can actually reduce your long-term motivation? This happens because your brain starts to associate the task with the reward rather than the satisfaction of completing it.
That's interesting. So does that mean rewards are bad for motivation?
Not exactly. Rewards work well for short-term motivation, but if you're looking for long-term self-motivation, it's better to focus on the internal satisfaction of reaching your goals rather than external rewards. Fun fact 6: the power of visualization. Here's another one. Athletes and successful professionals often use visualization to stay motivated. They imagine themselves achieving their goals in detail, which helps them feel more motivated to make it happen in real life.
Yes, I've read about that. For example, Michael Phelps, the Olympic swimmer, would visualize himself winning races before every competition. It helped him stay calm and focused.
That's a great strategy. By imagining yourself succeeding, you can trick your brain into feeling motivated.
Fun fact 7: music and motivation. Here's one we can all relate to. Music can have a huge impact on motivation. Upbeat, energetic music has been shown to improve our mood and boost motivation. That's why so many people listen to music while working out or studying.
I definitely use music to get motivated. A good playlist can completely change your energy level and make even boring tasks feel fun. Fun fact 8: the 5-minute rule. And finally, here's a fun trick called the 5-minute rule. If you're struggling to get started, tell yourself that you'll just work on the task for 5 minutes. Often, once you get started, you'll find the motivation to keep going.
That's a good one. It lowers the pressure because you're not committing to hours of work, just 5 minutes. And more often than not, you end up doing more than that.
So, there you have it. Some fun and surprising facts about motivation. Whether it's using visualization, understanding the science behind dopamine, or even listening to the right music, there are so many ways to boost your self-motivation.
We hope these fun facts help you think about motivation in a new way. Stay with us for the next segment, where we'll have a dialogue to show you how to use self-motivation in real-life conversations.
All right, Maria, let's do a little role play. I'll pretend to be someone who's struggling with motivation, and you can help me get back on track. Sound good?
Sounds great. Let's start with a situation I think many of our listeners can relate to: motivating yourself to study English.
Scenario 1. Motivating yourself to study. Hey, Maria, I don't know. I just can't seem to get motivated to study English lately. I know it's important, but every time I try to start, I just feel tired and distracted.
I get it, Alex. Studying can be tough sometimes, especially when you're feeling tired. But remember, you've already made a lot of progress. What's your main reason for learning English again?
Well, I really want to improve my speaking skills so I can communicate better at work. But it just feels like such a big task, and I don't know where to start.
That's a good goal, and it's totally achievable. How about breaking it down into smaller steps? Instead of focusing on everything at once, you could practice speaking for just 10 minutes every day. That way, it won't feel so overwhelming.
Yeah, that sounds more manageable. Maybe I'll start with 10 minutes today and see how it goes.
Exactly. And you can also set a reward for yourself when you're done. Something small like watching an episode of your favorite show after you finish. That'll give you something to look forward to.
That's a good idea. I'll try that. Thanks for the advice.
Scenario 2. Motivating yourself for a work project. Now, let's try another situation. How about motivating yourself to finish a work project? I'll play the person who's struggling this time.
Sure. Let's switch roles.
Alex, I have this huge project at work and I just can't seem to get started. It's so much work and I feel completely overwhelmed. Every time I sit down to start, I end up doing something else.
I hear you, Maria. Big projects can feel really overwhelming. But here's a tip. Why don't you break the project into smaller tasks? Start with the easiest one, even if it's something as simple as organizing your files. Once you've done that, you'll feel like you're making progress.
I like that idea. I guess I've been looking at the whole project like one giant task, which makes it feel impossible to tackle.
Exactly. If you break it down, it won't seem so scary. And don't forget to take short breaks. Sometimes working for just 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break can help keep you focused.
Yeah, the Pomodoro technique, right? I've heard of that. I'll try breaking the project into smaller tasks and using the timer.
Good plan. And remember, it's okay to start slow. The important thing is that you're moving forward even if it's just one step at a time.
Thanks, Alex. I think I can handle this project now.
Scenario 3. Staying motivated for fitness goals. Let's do one more. How about staying motivated to exercise? A lot of people struggle with this.
Good idea. I'll pretend to be someone who's having trouble staying motivated to work out.
Okay, let's go!
Alex, I just can't seem to get motivated to exercise lately. I know it's good for me, but every time I plan to work out, I end up skipping it. I just don't feel like it.
That's completely normal, Maria. Staying motivated to exercise can be tough. How about changing things up? Maybe try a new activity like dancing or cycling, something fun that doesn't feel like a workout.
That could help. I've been doing the same workout for months, and I think I'm just bored with it.
Exactly. Variety can make a big difference. You can also set some mini goals like doing a 15-minute workout today. Once you've done that, you can build from there. And if you're really struggling, you could ask a friend to join you. Working out with someone else can be more motivating.
That's a good point. I think I'll invite a friend to go for a walk later. It'll be easier with someone else.
Perfect. Remember, the key is to make it enjoyable, not a chore. Find what works for you, and the motivation will come naturally.
Thanks, Alex. I'll try mixing it up and starting small. That should help me get back into it.
Great. These are just a few examples of how you can motivate yourself in different areas of your life. Whether it's studying, work, or fitness, the key is to start small, break things down, and find ways to make the task enjoyable.
Exactly. And remember, self-motivation isn't about feeling 100% ready all the time. It's about taking action, even when you don't feel like it. That's how you build the momentum to keep going.
Well said, Maria. We hope these dialogues gave you some practical tips on how to stay motivated in your everyday life. Up next, we'll move into the practice segment, where you'll get to try out some of the vocabulary and techniques we've discussed today. Welcome to our practice segment. Now that we've learned about self-motivation and the new vocabulary, it's time for you to put it into practice. We'll guide you through a few exercises to help you use what you've learned in real-life situations. Exercise 1. Practice. Speaking. For this exercise, we'll give you a scenario, and we want you to practice speaking out loud, explaining how you would motivate yourself. Don't worry about being perfect. This is all about practicing your English.
Here's the first scenario. You have a big exam coming up in a week, but you've been feeling tired and unmotivated. How would you motivate yourself to study?
Great. You could say something like, I would create a study schedule and break the material into small sections. I'd study for 25 minutes and take 5-minute breaks to keep my energy up.
Exactly. Let's try another one. You've decided to start exercising regularly, but after a few days, you feel like giving up. How would you keep yourself motivated?
Nice. You could say, I'd try a new workout routine to make it more fun and maybe invite a friend to join me so it's more enjoyable.
Well done. Remember, the more you practice speaking about motivation, the easier it will become to stay motivated in real life.
Exercise 2. Create a self-motivation plan. For this last exercise, we want you to create a simple self-motivation plan. Think of something you've been meaning to do but haven't started yet. It could be studying more, exercising, or learning a new skill.
Write down 3 small steps you can take to get started. For example, if you want to exercise more, step 1 could be go for a 10-minute walk tomorrow. Keep it simple and manageable.
Once you've written down your steps, think of a reward you can give yourself after completing each one. It could be something small, like watching a movie or enjoying a nice snack.
This plan will help you take action and stay motivated by giving you clear steps to follow. And remember, it's all about making progress, not being perfect.
Great job, everyone! We hope these exercises helped you feel more confident about using the new vocabulary and staying self-motivated.
Keep practicing, and remember, self-motivation is a skill that gets stronger the more you use it. Up next is our conclusion, where we'll wrap up everything we've learned today.
All right, everyone. We've come to the end of today's episode on self-motivation. Let's quickly summarize the key points we discussed.
First, we talked about the importance of self-motivation and how it plays a huge role in achieving our goals. We learned some important vocabulary like determination, initiative, perseverance, and drive, all of which help us stay on track even when things get tough.
Yes. Then we shared practical steps on how to develop self-motivation, like breaking tasks into smaller steps, rewarding yourself, and finding ways to make challenging activities more enjoyable.
We also had fun exploring some interesting facts about motivation from different cultures, and how motivation looks different depending on the work or study habits in those cultures.
During our dialogue segment, we role-played a few real-life scenarios where you might struggle with motivation, like studying for an exam or sticking to a fitness routine. We hope those examples gave you practical advice on how to stay motivated when things feel overwhelming.
And in the practice segment, you had a chance to use the new vocabulary and reflect on a time when you had to be self-motivated. We hope that got you thinking about how you can apply what you learned in your own life.
So, what's the main takeaway from today's episode? Self-motivation isn't something that happens automatically. It's a skill you can develop. And just like any skill, it gets stronger the more you use it.
Exactly. We encourage you to take small steps every day. Start with something manageable, like setting a simple goal and working on it for 10 or 15 minutes. Over time, those small efforts will add up to big results.
Also, don't forget the importance of celebrating your progress, no matter how small. Every step forward is a victory, and rewarding yourself can keep your motivation high.
And remember, setbacks are part of the process. If you lose motivation, that's okay. Take a break, reflect, and then start again. What matters is that you don't give up.
Before we go, we want to leave you with a motivational quote that really sums up everything we've talked about today. It's from Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it's done.
Such a powerful reminder. Even when things feel difficult, keep pushing forward, because once you accomplish your goal, you'll look back and realize it wasn't impossible after all.
That's right. Stay focused, stay determined, and keep taking action, no matter how small the steps are. You've got this.
We believe in you, and we hope this episode has inspired you to tap into your own self-motivation. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. We'll see you next time on the English Hustle Podcast. Stay motivated and keep learning.